You know, and I agree with you, we're stuck.
Well, you're going to bite the bullet one way or the other. I'm saying the way this thing is set up, all right, all we're doing is supplying, because you go down through here, of this budget, management gets 37%. Fees, discounting the discount fees, the trustees, the audit fee, and so on, is 30%. Engineering legal is 13%. There's a maintenance item in here. I don't know what that maintenance item refers to. That's 7%. You know, insurance is another 6%. So what I'm saying, all we're doing is collecting basically $100,000 to cover all these outside entities, and the CBD basically is set up for the community, and all we're doing is supplying monies for all these other entities, and that's. You know, so I know it's a system, all right, and there's not much you can do about it, but I'm saying I just want to bring that all out. You know, I think there's whatever can be done to minimize some of these expenses, and then keep the budget the way it is, 100,000, 99,000, but keep it what it is, 100, whatever the assessment is to each individual home. But in the process of that, we're also accumulating a reserve for expenditures, which we don't do now. I don't know if we ever have in the past. And so,
It was never set up.
well, it's not that I did, yeah, it was never set up that way. That's the problem.
No, I agree
It
with
was
you.
never set up that way.
This is
I mean, when the boards looked at this before, whether because the board was controlled by Creative Union,
Yeah.
they didn't care about setting up a reserve for expenditures. All they're concerned about, there was a by statute, all these things were done by statute, by law. And so as long as they could supply money to cover all these expenditures in here, that's all they care about.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying is, I think in the future, you know, the CDD's got to start looking at things like that and start to program
I
for
think
it.
maybe
Yeah.
when we look at the bond refinancing, maybe it's something to look at during that avenue, because if you're gonna save money when we refinance, maybe we can allocate a portion to reduce taxes and a portion to go into start reserving.
Well,
And as you said, maybe try to see what we can do to eliminate.
you know, it's just
Some
like.
of these charges are mandated, you know, some of these fees are mandated, so there's really not anything we can take out.
No, well, there are things, I mean, I think there's something you can look at. I mean, I don't know what this,
That's a good point there.
I don't know what this miscellaneous $1,000 is, I don't know what this maintenance contingency is for $6,000. What is that? I mean, is there a breakdown? Can we get a breakdown?
We're going to give you a breakdown of it, but I can tell you what it is. It's just what it says. It's if there's a maintenance issue that we come up with, we need to use that money, because that's what it's there for.
What maintenance issue?
When we first started this, when the board first took over this district, there was a bunch of work that had to be done that, as you remember, as the chairman of the HOA,
The littorals.
yeah, the littoral region, so we
Yeah, you
used, so we used that money that was in that contingency account to offset some of that.
So this is like a
Okay, let me
small.
ask you a question. You're saying the maintenance contingency. Now, is there an account? I mean, like there's $6,000 a year budgeted. Is there an account that's being set aside for
We
this?
don't have a separate account for every one of these line items, no. We have a pot of money that is designated for these uses. And at the end of the year, for example, if there's not money been used in one line item and you need to put to help out with some other line item, you have that ability to do that. But there's not a different bank account for every one of those.
Let me ask you another question. If we collect the CDD from the assessment to the homeowner, we collect $99,000, all right? Now, let's say, for instance, 90,000 is used, all right, for these expenditures. Now, how do you account for the 9,000?
The 9,000 would go into your reserves, and part of that would probably be used for the carryover that I mentioned before that helped you buy down the.
Now, I think that's something else that should be shown on the report. How much is in that reserve?
It is.
19,444.
If you look at the very last entry on that page 9 that we talked about, we anticipate that you're going to have $5,639 at the end of September 30th.
No,
it's not, the year's not over, it's 2012, 2013.
I thought it was the 19,444 up above where it says balance.
No, that's a balance on this account column. Anyway, maybe I'll talk to this guy and we can get a little clarification.
Yeah, I'll be happy to set that up for you.
I don't think that's too much of time.
Yeah, just to reinforce what they're saying is, we have lake erosion around the perimeters of some of the lakes right now, and we have really no money to fix it. And once the lake levels get to where they're supposed to be after the weirs are put in and we have a rainy season, we can see what's left of that lake erosion that we have to fix. But that's certainly something that should be looked at some point.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have one other question. I noticed there's a drop off in the bond payment from 533 to 522 between the 2011, 2012, and 2012, 2013 budget. I'm wondering why there isn't a similar drop off in the proposed 2013, 2014 budget.
This is all set by amortization schedules when the bonds are sold. And it depends on what the coupons were when the bonds were sold for particular years and which you're in.
But 2 years are almost exactly the same, this year and next.
That's not unusual. If you look at the amortization schedule, and again, I can get you a copy of the amortization schedule.
So I'm just wondering why it was down 11,000 one year and then flat in the second.
The coupon interest rate is probably why on the amortization schedule. That's set from the outset when the bonds are sold.
Okay. It would be interesting to see the history of those payments.
I'll get it for you. No problem.
You don't need a motion on this today, do you?
Yeah, we need a motion to approve the proposed budget and set it for public hearing. The public hearing will be held on June 19th. What you can do though is,
I'd rather defer this.
well, let me finish, okay? What you have to do is you have to adopt, so that we can meet the trim bill requirements of the Florida law. And you can set this budget, as your proposed budget, and you can drop it between now and the time of the public hearing. And at the public hearing, you can decrease it. You can't increase it. So, because of the time constraints that we have to get this information to the county, I would ask you to consider adopting it today as it's presented. And then after you talk to Jeff, if you have decreases you want to make, that certainly can be done. We just can't increase it.
You can also move things around. What you can't increase is the proposed assessments that you're going to be levying. So between the proposed budget and the final budget. So as long as you're okay with the proposed amounts as the maximum that you're going to assess.
Yes, I just wanted to get an explanation on how it comes up at $161.
He'll have it, I don't.
And then as far as us approving this today, I don't have any problem with that, because if any changes, then what we'll do is just build up more reserve, which is all right. That's what we want to do anyway. I make a motion to approve the budget.
This is the proposed budget, set the public hearing for
Proposed
June.
budget.
It set the public hearing for June 19th. Your second.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Now, June 19th, is that just a public notice, right?
Yes, yes, we send out a